What up? What up? It's the Athletic Hockey Show for April 22nd. I am Sean Gentili. I am in Edmonton. I am joined by Sean McIndoe, as always, who is at home. Frankie Corrado is watching U18s somewhere. I'm not sure what he's doing. McIndoe, have you been showered with glass lately? Like DJ said,
I have not. No, not yet.
Have you ever in your life been showered with glass?
I don't think I have. Actually, I've seen
it's an easy life.
I've seen some glass break. I've been party to it, but I don't think I've been showered by it.
That was the headline on the thing Peter Baugh wrote about DJ Smith last night. That was a highlight from Avs Kings. I read that this morning, and I had missed that actually happened. So I saw showered with glass and was immediately very concerned for DJ Smith. That might have been the highlight of Avs Kings. Probably not. We'll talk about that later. We need to start with the game of last night. It's Habs, it's Lightning. McIndoe, I know you were particularly taken with this one. It was Tampa Bay 3, Montreal 2. Nikita Kucherov ties it with 7 minutes left or so. Then JJ Moser wins it in overtime. I think we anticipated, we could have guessed the guy that was going to tie it. I'm not sure we had money on the guy who ended up winning it. And that series is tied at 1.
And it's been the best series of the playoffs so far, which I don't think is a shock. I think most of us, if we were going to rank them going in, probably would have had Dallas, Minnesota as the big one. But this one was right up there, and it's delivered everything you could want and more. 2 overtime games, some great individual play, lots and lots of bad blood, a little bit of controversy here and there.
Mm-hmm.
This is great stuff. And, it was fantastic for 2 games in Tampa, and now we get to go to Montreal and drop it into the Bell Center, but it's going to be something. I hope this one goes 7. I hope they go to overtime every single night. I hope they hate each other more and more with every game that goes by. This is phenomenal. I'm loving it.
It's hard not to. I'm trying not to overreact to that loss from a Montreal standpoint. If you would have told them at the start of the series that you'd be tied 1-1 and have whatever a lead with 7 minutes left in game 2, I'm sure they would have taken it at the start of it. But I'm an overreactive person by nature, so I'm fighting it. That felt tough for them. Am I wrong? Am I overreacting?
No,
I don't know.
I mean, this is the nature of the playoffs, right? Because if you take game 1 and 2 and you just flip them, keep everything that happened exactly the same, just flip the order, then Montreal feels great. Coming home 1-1, they certainly, I don't think anyone looked at this series and said, oh, Montreal's going to have a tough time hanging with the Lightning. I think a lot of people picked the Lightning to win, and they've got that sort of that winning pedigree, whatever you want to call it. They've been here before, but I don't think anybody looked at this and went, "Oh, Tampa's going to blow them off the ice." But if you did think that, you don't think it anymore. I mean, Montreal has stood toe to toe with these guys. There hasn't been the Habs were in the playoffs last year, but it was sort of dipping their toe into it, and this is almost their first time on the really big stage of a winnable series. And sometimes maybe you worry the moment's going to be too big for a team. It hasn't been. Montreal's right in the mix here. And you're right. I mean, the way that it did play out, they win game 1, they've got the lead, and you're sitting there going, geez, 2-0 lead going back to Montreal. I mean, this is it. The series isn't over at that point.
Yeah.
But and so you kind of get left feeling like, what a missed opportunity. But it's the same thing from Tampa's perspective, right? They get a goal in game 1 and game 2 plays out the same way. They're up 2-0. This is the right result. Now Montreal's got home ice. I feel like they still feel pretty good, even though they are probably playing a bit of that what if in their heads if that had just played out a little differently.
I wish I would have had the courage to pick the Canadiens ahead of this one. I didn't have the guts. It was like I felt like my heart was saying to pick them, but my head is garbage, and it convinced me not to. And I feel foolish now. I figured it'd be
stupid heads are just
damn you head. I was with a coworker I was with a colleague last night, who was talking about Josh Anderson like he was 500 years old. And he's 31. Josh Anderson scored his second goal of the series last night. He's looked great. Not only was he not the Canadiens' old guy without a cup representative, that was Brendan Gallagher. Josh Anderson, not even a valid choice, not even eligible. He's only 30. He's only 31 years old, and you limited it to 33. But it is fun to see guys like him. I don't want to turn every discussion of every series into like, this is what the playoffs is all about, because that's corny. Yeah. But like, to some extent, seeing someone like Josh Anderson step up and play at 1,000 miles an hour, like he's still playing for Columbus or whatever, is that is kind of what the playoffs is all about. And like, oh yeah, right, Josh Anderson still can skate and still pounds the bejesus out of people and is still capable of pumping in a goal every now and then. It was fun to watch.
And he's that classic guy where, the Habs went out and got him years ago now, gave him a great big contract. Everybody kind of looked at it and went, okay. You sure about this one? And it was like, wow, but just wait for the playoffs. And every year I get tricked. Every year, Montreal will come in to play the Leafs late in the season, and you see Josh Anderson. You're like, how's he doing this year? And you're like, oh, he's got 20 points. Great job, Montreal. Great management there. And then the playoffs comes around, and it's a war, and he's the guy scoring.
He wanted Tom Wilson in that series last year so bad, so bad, and it didn't really work out for him.
And it became, probably too bad, right? Like it sort of became a bit of a sideshow. And now, maybe that's a little bit of a learning process. Not that, it wasn't like Josh Anderson had never been in the playoffs before, but maybe just as a team, like you look at this and, Tampa, it's funny. I feel like for the last couple of years, we have rightly and correctly all focused on the Florida Panthers as the to be charitable, the team that plays on the edge, plays right up to the line. Realistically, they're just dirty as hell, and they cheat, and they get away with it. Yeah, and they get away with it. But now that they're not in the playoffs, it's sort of like, oh right, Tampa was right behind them. In fact, the Panthers almost learned how to play that way from the rivalry with Tampa Bay. So they're throwing everything they can at these Habs, and so far Montreal's been able to deal with it. I mean, we saw Slafkovsky drop the gloves last night. Yeah, maybe not the best idea, but that sends a message too to the team, to everyone. Like, none of us are backing down. We're all in this together, and it's been a nasty, nasty series. But I think if you had told me going in that there'd be as many penalties and scrums and fights as there have been, I'd say, okay, well, that's playing to Tampa's advantage. And it doesn't really feel that way. It
doesn't feel that way.
Yeah, like Montreal's been able to handle it. What did you think, speaking of Josh Anderson, of the hit at the end of regulation? The Nick Sabourin hits him from behind, gets 5 minutes.
Yeah.
One of those fake 5-minute majors that we see so often these days, so that the referees can go and look at it.
Yeah.
And apparently whatever they saw convinced them it wasn't 5 minutes. I guess he should have, like, I don't know what 5 minutes for hitting from behind looks like, but
yeah, I'm like, I'm at the point now, you kind of alluded to this. I'm at the point now where when you see a 5-minute penalty, I just assume it's going to get pulled back.
Yes.
Like regardless of how bad a hit it was or wasn't. Like, we need to spend August going through these calls and seeing which ones actually end up resulting in a dude being in the box for 5 minutes. Let alone, like, you knew that it's the playoffs. Like you're not gonna you're not and it's at the end of regulation. You're not gonna put someone in the box for 5. Like we're like just cut the sideshow, cut the BS. Like you're not serious about this. So stop the dog and pony show. Replay stuff. It ain't happening.
What were they expecting to see? Because it's a hit for, if people didn't see it, it was a hit from behind open ice. Mm-hmm. And Scott Sabourin, not Nick, sorry to him.
Yeah. Apologies to the entire Sabourin family. Apologies to Danny Sabourin, all of them.
All of them. The whole family, as I do the Austin Matthews checking the back of his jersey thing to get the name right. I mean, that's a 5-minute penalty.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they were looking to see on the replay. Just see if he pulled out like a barbed wire baseball bat or something and just like
he actually had his switchblade in his skate that he pulled out. Whoops, we didn't realize that at first.
Now, I mean, part of what they may have seen is the fact that Josh Anderson gets absolutely drilled from behind, manages to look up and gesture at the referee before realizing that he's hurt, and then curls up in a ball on the ice and misses the rest of regulation, but miraculously recovers in time for overtime.
Interesting. It's interesting how that works.
I will tell you what shocked me about that whole scenario was that overtime rolls around and Sabourin is back on the ice.
Yeah.
I looked at that and I said, that's his last shift of the game. We might not see him again.
We might never see him again. Yeah.
Because that's exactly, I mean, if you're going to have, and depth matters in the playoffs and everything, but you have to, you want to have a fourth line, those third and fourth lines that you can send out there, but you got to trust them. Mm-hmm. And to throw a hit like that with 6 minutes or whatever it is left in a tie game, is in the moment.
It's the kind of stuff that gets guys lost on the bench, and then they're never heard from again.
I mean, you lose the trust of the coach, and if I can't put you out in a close game in a series where the games are close all the time, what's the point of even having you in the lineup? But he was out there taking a regular shift.
It's wild
in overtime. But yeah, that was a nasty one. And we need to come up with a term for these fake 5-minute reviews.
Yeah, it's a fake review.
And it's fascinating to me because anytime anyone ever raises the idea of like a penalty replay review, which is a terrible idea for the record, but whenever they do it, the referees association gets their back up and goes, no, absolutely not. And yet referees sure do seem to love looking at replays of penalties because they choose to do it.
Yeah. I think I feel like we're in a weird, there's like a dead cat bounce going on with replay where people are trying to incorporate it more again because of how well the ABS system has worked in baseball. Like people are like, actually replay can be good.
Well, and then we had Monday night in Carolina, which
I was covering that happened as I was covering a hockey game. And it was like, I've never been more confused about anything because like I had to follow it completely through Twitter. I wasn't watching the game. I've never had less of an idea about what's been going on in a hockey game than that. I almost called you and asked like what the hell happened here because it was impossible to track. I
would not have been able to help you because watching it live, I also had no idea what was going on. We didn't know what was being reviewed. We won't do, I know it was Monday night, which is forever ago in the playoffs. We had no idea what was even being reviewed. And even when they announced that no goal overturned. Yeah. Okay. Well, it was only like minutes later when somebody figured out what they were actually looking at. It's such a screwed up system. So, and I'm already seeing it, especially because Montreal Tampa is it's such a nasty series and such a fast series that you're seeing people go like, well, we need some sort of it. No, we don't.
Nope. There's no analog there. There's nothing in hockey that can turn into into a 30-second check like baseball. Like don't.
I know you think it's that if we just do replay review, all the calls are going to be good and everything's going to work. We're all going to agree, and your team will always win. and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Ain't happening.
Think a little bit.
In the other Eastern Conference game, Boston 4, Buffalo 2. The Bruins didn't blow this one. Buffalo added 2 at the end. One of those Bruins goals, though, it was an all-timer from Morgan Geekie, wasn't it?
A snipe. Absolute. What a beauty. Look, I mean, I'm sure people have seen it by now. If you haven't, you will, because it's an all-time blooper. Basically, gets the Toskala bounce on a flip-in from center ice. Tell me I'm not alone on this. I've always felt like if I was in the NHL, I would do that often. Do the little, try to short hop the goalie. And I feel like I would score 15, 20 goals a year just off of those. Every time I was supposed to dump
depends
it in,
on how often you'd play Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
There's gotta be a way to, like, throw a little bit of a spin on the puck and set it up there. I feel like that would be my total goals from all other plays would be 0. But I feel like that would be my specialty, be the guy who could be that and the fake ring it around the boards and then you put it on net after the goalie's already started out. Those would be my 2 patented moves. Kucherov's got a shootout move. There's the Datsu move. That would be my move, which is just get the puck and fling it towards the net and try to short hop the goalie.
I think that one underscores too. Fluke stuff happens. I'm not gonna bury Luukkonen for that, but I think that does underscore the biggest reason to believe in Boston here is like the goalie gap in this one is just enormous. Swayman was really, really good again. He
was, but also, I mean, the series is 1-1, so I don't want to. And again, this is, you flip the order of the games and the narrative, the momentum, and everything feel completely different. But it's not like the Sabres are getting goalied here. The Bruins have dominated 100, maybe 110 minutes out of a 120-minute series so far.
Yep.
Sabres have got some work to do. They've it's been a great story.
Everyone loves the story. Game 1 was, just the visuals alone coming out of that were incredible, right? Sabres in 3, blah blah. But I think when you look at it in the cold light of day after 2 games, like Boston, I think they're positioned pretty well.
It's the Bruins, you'd prefer to be the Flyers coming back home up 2-0, but for a 1-1 series, I don't know how it goes any better for you. How you could feel any better about your game than the Boston Bruins have to right now, going into that crazy building and basically owning it for the vast majority of those 2 games.
Yep. Utah 3, Vegas 2. That one's also tied 1-1. Oh my God, my heart increased 10 sizes diagonally across the continent when I saw West Mifflin's own Logan Cooley scoring that game winner. Man, tell me if I'm wrong about this. I wasn't watching this one super closely. We were at an establishment, so it was late. Vegas looks slow.
Yep.
I'm not sure I'm quite ready to pick Utah to get this one done, but man, they're certainly the faster team out there. And is that just because Cooley's always one of the fastest guys on the ice, and he's from my hometown and all that stuff maybe, but there's a gap there, and I think it was pretty apparent last night.
Yeah, and you didn't really see it as much in game 1, and I still think Vegas is the better team. I still think they're going to win the series, but yeah, this is what you want to see from an underdog. Which is the counterpunch, and very, very interesting to see what it looks like going back to Utah. I'm saying going back to Utah, going to Utah
for the first time.
No back to. This is it. This is the this is the debut. What kind of weirdness do they have? Is it I know that it's an unwritten rule of the hockey universe that whichever the newest team in the league, we all have to say that it's the loudest building, and all these fans are so crazy, and so I'm sure we'll all be doing that, but it might be true. And this is a series, and look, I think Vegas is a better team, but this is a vulnerable Golden Knights team. It wouldn't shock me to see them come out of the Pacific, but this is also they seem very wobbly. They seem like it wouldn't take too much, and maybe a Game 3 win for Utah is that moment that kind of pushes them, and we find out how much pushback they have, and maybe they don't have as much as we thought.
Kings 2, Avs 2, Kings 1. Nick Waugh scores in overtime. That's after Landeskog tied it with about 3.5 minutes left. Where does that one rank on the gut punch scale here? Like that's just, I at no point watching that one did I feel like the Kings were going to win the game. They're just they're a tough watch, but then whatever, they hang in there for the majority of it, but then to lose,
they did it in
like
game
that,
1 too,
God.
right? Like this is, and again, this was a chance to steal one.
Mm-hmm.
This was a chance to, and I don't even think if the Kings win game 2, if they get the overtime goal, that anyone is going, oh, we got a series now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody's still picking Colorado in this one, but you in any series, if you're the underdog, there's going to be a couple games where you got a shot, and you got to take advantage. And the good news is we all made our jokes about Avs in 3, and this is not even. And the Kings have shown we're right there. We're not rolling over, and credit to them for that, I suppose. But
that game also is just proof that a late goal and any kind of overtime action is enough to make a game interesting. Like that was a slog for the vast majority of it. But if everyone's like, oh wow, incredible late goal by Gabe Landeskog, and then Nick Waugh wins it. It's fun. It's fun because of the way it ended. But
games that are scoreless.
The process was just it was painful.
Yeah.
One of the more non-competitive series in the first round is Penguins Flyers, and we're going to talk to Josh Yohe about that kind of unexpected result there coming up after the break. All right, we're back. We're joined now by our buddy Josh Yohe, who's on Flyers Penguins. Of course, he's gotten a personal taste of the cross-state rivalry there. The Flyers fans are making his life miserable.
I actually kind of enjoy dealing with Flyers fans. Like I don't know. They're actually very entertaining to me. I had one guy, he was in my DMs last night telling me off and making fun of the Penguins for being down with. I said, dude, maybe just enjoy the success. Come on, you gotta enjoy this. Why are you making fun of me? Like, what? I don't matter. And he writes back like, it's so cool that you responded. I'm like, sure.
Yeah. A big shot like you has the time to mingle with the hoi polloi in Twitter DMs.
Right. And the hoi polloi is out in Philadelphia. Oh boy.
Josh, okay, so I'm not in Pittsburgh. I am in Edmonton. I have a sense for how the fan base has reacted to these first 2 losses, but you tell me, man, on a scale of 1 to 10, how pissed off are people in Western Pennsylvania right now?
I think they're more depressed than they are pissed off.
That's a better way to put it.
They're kind of they're not even angry. They're just curling into a ball like, oh no, this is the team we were supposed to be all season. Oh my God, these last 6 months have been a mirage. Oh no, this hasn't just happened, and now it's the Flyers doing it to us. Because the Penguins didn't even put up a fight in the first 2 games. There's nothing to really be angry about for the fan base, I don't think. I've watched as many of the other playoff games as I can, and they're all competitive. They're all entertaining hockey games. And I don't know what it was that the Penguins were doing in these first 2 games. There's just nothing competitive there. The scores were 3-0 and 3-2. They may as well have been 6-0. That's how bad the Penguins have looked. And I think everyone's maybe in a little bit of a state of shock more than anything.
Yeah. We all thought that going into the season, the Penguins are supposed to be the team that was tanking. And then they didn't, but now they are. So that's pretty good. I mean, they'll get a high pick in the playoff draft. Is there? Having watched those 2 games, you're right. This is domination would be the wrong way to phrase it, because domination is you're losing 7-1 every night. But as far as two relatively, we thought, evenly matched teams, this is about as one-sided as it gets. And maybe even to an extent that the scoreboard, which hasn't been friendly to the Penguins, is maybe making it seem closer than it is. What's the adjustment? What do you do to change this? What's happening here? Are the Flyers just a better team than the Penguins, or is something gone off the rails that can be fixed from a Pittsburgh perspective?
Well, first of all, Sean, you're in Edmonton, so I want you to tell everybody there that Stuart Skinner has been the Penguins' best player in these first 2 games.
I already have.
Good. He's actually been really good because
Okay.
the games could be more lopsided than they are, and maybe they are tanking for McKenna in the playoffs, which is an interesting approach. I didn't know it worked that way.
I gotta check the CVA on that, but I'm pretty sure that's
just act surprised in the lottery when Bill Daly flips that card.
Oh, there it is.
Look at that.
I'm sure that won't get hockey fans worked up. No, because you're right. These games have been. Here's the thing: the Flyers aren't even trying to score. They are just sitting back and waiting until the Penguins do something stupid, which is happening about every 30 seconds. And they're just counterattacking and getting enough offense. I do think Philly might be a little better than we realized. I think Porter Martone, it's only been a few games. I mean, he's got star potential just oozing off of him. He's really good. He's made a very clear difference. I think Owen Tippett's a lot better than people realize. They have some players, yes. And I think they're playing an incredibly disciplined style, which can be harder to do at home. And I'm curious to see if they can duplicate that at home. But they've just played a perfect defensive hockey series through 2 games. But the bigger story still to me is the futility of the Penguins. They have been unable to figure out the trap Philadelphia is playing. They have been unwilling to simply dump the puck and go to work. And it's interesting, in the Crosby era, listen, the Penguins won the Cup 3 times. They've been to 4 finals. They've been to 5 conference finals. They've done a lot of great things in the playoffs. But when they fail in the playoffs, they often do so spectacularly. Like, they either put it together or they fall apart. We see this a lot with this team over the years. And listen, look at the power play. You've got Crosby, Malkin, Carlson, Raquel, and Russ. That's a pretty darn good power play on paper. 0 for 5. 2 shots on goal for the whole power play in game 2. Gave up a pathetic shorthanded goal. Also gave up a 2-on-none. That's what they did on the power play. These are a bunch of Hall of Famers. I don't know how you fix that in 48 hours. Dan Muse is going to try, but it's been stunning to see just how inept the Penguins have looked in these games.
Well, that first period in game 2, I think, it summed a lot of it up. They had 19 shot attempts or whatever, and 2 of them were actually on net. Like, they're getting zone time and then just completely running into a wall. And it was wild to see. It's a 1-0 series. You play 1 period of game 2, and you have 19 shot attempts in the first period, right? And you should be feeling okay about, like, if those are the bullet points that you get, you say, all right, things are going fine. There's no reason to panic. It felt like they lost that game already after the first period, and there was no score on the board just because the degree of futility that they were showing when it came to actually turning that zone time into anything meaningful at all.
No, that's right. It's like there's this big wall in front of the slot area that they simply either can't get to or refuse to go to. And you're right. The first period was interesting. They had the puck the whole period, which is good. And they actually tried to get the puck deep and weren't turning the puck over in the first period. But I don't recall one really good look in that period that they had. They just kind of threw a few pucks toward the net, and the Flyers blocked them all. That's pretty much all it was. And if you look at Philly, like, for really the last month of the regular season when they got hot, they're not giving up goals. Their goal prevention in general has been very impressive. And I do think Vladar has played a role in that. He's been good, but I don't know what to make of him because he hasn't been tested in this series at all. The Flyers, like you said, Sean, they're putting up that wall, and the Penguins, you could feel the frustration in the building. Like, at the end of the first period, I was thinking, oh boy, they're in trouble. Like, you could just feel it. And by the way, the Penguins are not built to win 2-1 games. In fact, it's an unbelievable stat. I don't think they won a 2-1 game all season.
That scans.
And I think they only won 3-2 game. It's a game in Vancouver in January against the pathetic Canucks. They don't win low-scoring games. They need a track meet, even though they're old. Like, that's when this particular
they scored the second most goals in the NHL this season. I honest to God don't think not enough people realize that. This was a really, really, really productive hockey team, and they
highest scoring
clueless.
team of the Crosby era. Did I see that?
Correct.
Yes, it is.
That's wild.
And Anthony Mehta is their leading goal scorer with 33 goals. He has 0 shots in the first 2 games of this series. I've barely noticed him. That's always kind of the book on him, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Talented, he'll score some goals. He's a free agent this summer. Careful. Somebody's going to offer him something ridiculous. It might not be the Penguins.
Yeah, he's going to get $6 million for 7 years now instead of $7 million for 8 or whatever.
Right. Yeah, that's the way that might go this summer. But I mean, he's been invisible. And listen, Crosby has a history of killing the Flyers that is to the point that we just expect it. We just expect anytime he sees that logo, that gif that you see going on when he's like staring straight ahead in the locker room like he wants to kill someone, like that's always what we're expecting from him against them because it's all we've ever known. He's been really bad in these first 2 games. I don't know.
Is this injury stuff? He didn't look hurt. He didn't look hurt 2 weeks. He didn't look a guy who almost tore his MCL in the Olympics 2 weeks ago, but he does now.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I doubt he's 100%. Of course, I could also counter that by saying, then why the hell was he playing in Washington in a meaningless game last Sunday if he wasn't 100%? Mm-hmm. So we always look, when it's Crosby, I think there's always a natural assumption, well, there must be something wrong. He can't just be playing poorly. Yeah. Is it father time catching up a little bit? I hate to bring that up, but he is 38. He'll be 39 this summer.
When you're 38, that question gets asked.
It does, and it has to. Like, the playoffs are a faster animal. Everything's at warp speed. We know this, and he just hasn't looked close to himself in these first 2 games to the point that it's, I think, been a little alarming. Mm-hmm. And now tonight he goes into Philly, the building he has owned more than any other. I'm sure there will be a comfort zone for him there. He likes playing there. Historically, Sidney Crosby goes out and scores a goal in the first 5 minutes. It's like, oh, okay, here we go. What if he doesn't? I don't know. We have to monitor how he looks. I think that's fair.
It really feels like this game tonight has 2 distinct paths that could go down, and both of them, in hindsight, will feel obvious, right? Mm-hmm. We're either going to get a repeat of the first 2 games where the Flyers will just lock it down and the Penguins are going to look a half step behind all night, and we'll go, the Flyers are better. This series is going to be a sweep. We all figured that out after 2 games, of course. Or, like you said, Crosby scores early, here come the Penguins, and we're all going to be going, of course, a proud team of champions like the Pittsburgh Penguins aren't going to lay down. Of course we're going to have a series. We knew that. We're all going to be very, very smart in about 12 hours. We just don't know which direction.
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, there's also the possibility of like Philly comes out and scores 3 goals in the first 10 minutes, and this place is going to be a zoo tonight. I have no doubt. No, I mean, I think a lot of different things are in play, and guys, I'm telling you, not just because of how the Penguins lost the first 2 games, but just how pathetic they looked.
Yeah,
like if they get swept or losing 5. Thinking about Kyle Dubas right now, and there's a lot of people in Pittsburgh like, oh, you got to bring Gino back and you got to keep the guys together. I'm not so sure any of that's going to happen if they keep looking as old as they've looked in the first 2 games. I'm not talking about Sidney Crosby. I'm talking about everybody else on the roster over the age of 30. You have to wonder how Kyle Dubas is feeling when he watches his team look this bad against a young team in the playoffs. It has to get his attention.
Thank you for all those reasons for Penguins fan optimism, Josh. That's
it was my pleasure. When you come to Philadelphia, the negativity just hits you right in the face, and you almost become that way a little bit. I apologize.
It comes on the side at Wawa, brother. That's how it works. Hey, no.
Yeah, not the truth.
Enjoy the game, brother. Talk to you soon.
See you guys.
All right, McAdoo. There are 2 other games tonight. We got Dallas, Minnesota. We got Anaheim, Edmonton. We'll start with Ducks, Kings. Oh my God, Ducks, Oilers, because that's the one I'm on. I'm of the mindset here that things went about as well as they could have for Anaheim in Game 1. You keep McDavid off the score sheet entirely, which is crazy. Had literally never happened in an Oilers win this season, and you get 68% Leon Draisaitl. He had his legs. He's fine there. The issue was timing. He looked like a guy who hadn't played a game in a month, and you certainly don't expect that to continue. So I'm of the mindset that, that was a chance that they frittered away just because they managed to keep those guys at least off the score sheet. I think 6-2 each has 3 points tonight is a very, very real possibility. Yeah, tell me I'm wrong.
I don't think you're wrong. I mean, this is what happens in the playoffs, especially when you've got a favorite underdog scenario. We're seeing it play out very much in the LA Colorado series, where when you've got the established favorite and everyone goes, oh, they're going to win 5-1 tonight, and then you get a close game instead, you sort of go, okay, well that's a bit of a moral victory. That's, we're playing them close. We're playing them tight. We're in this series. We're showing that we can compete with them. And it's like, yeah, but also you're only going to get so many opportunities to get a win on the board. And when one of them flies away, especially, I mean, that game one, I'll be honest. I was so revved up with all the crazy stuff that happened in the Ottawa Carolina series on Monday night that I went to bed when we were 2 periods deep in the Oilers game, and Edmonton's down going into the third period, a goal.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at that score before I turn the light off going, uh-oh. This is big trouble in Edmonton if this plays out this way. And then woke up the next morning and checked, yep, there you go. Edmonton came back, got it done. The old cliche, they don't ask how, they ask how many. I mean, we have to ask how a little bit because we're, especially early in a series, you're trying to analyze it and figure out how it might go. But also, when you're under as much pressure as the Oilers are, it kind of is just how many. And they got it done. And look, if the Ducks come back and can get a win tonight, split the series, go home, make it into something, okay, then let's see how it plays out. But you're right. It's not that tough to picture the Oilers flexing a little bit. And then we all end up looking back at game one going, boy, if that second half of that third period had played out a little bit differently, we got a whole different series. But the Ducks took their best swing. The Oilers took the punch, and then the fight was over.
You're not going to get too many. You're not going to win too many series when you lose games because of Jason Dickinson and Kasperi Kapanen. Like you can't get away with that too many times against the Oilers, and Anaheim's already used one of their bullets. Okay, Dallas, Minnesota. My question after 2 games of this is about Jake Oettinger. 879 save percentage. He hasn't looked particularly good. I at some point, maybe it's this series. Maybe the Stars win the cup, and we never ask the question. But at some point, we need to start wondering about. Everyone loves Jake Oettinger, and he shows up on preseason Vezina lists and blah blah blah. But he is a guy. When you look at the Stars postseason flameouts in one way or another over the last few years, all those losses in the Western Conference Finals, he's a guy who not undeservedly has escaped the amount of blame you'd expect from a goaltender who was responsible, who is at least in net for all of them. And I think if this series goes the way it has in the first 2 games, that is going to change. Jake Oettinger is going to be wearing the collar after this one if Minnesota somehow pulls this off. I know it's early, but I think he's tracking towards a narrative shift surrounding him.
I love it. You're setting the stage. I'm picturing in my mind Connor Hellebuyck sitting on the bench, kind of scooching over and patting the seat next to him, like, "Come on, come on over to the big name goalies who have been slapped with a reputation."
Are we sure? Are we sure about this guy?
And look, I mean, you said we've got to start thinking about it. Pete DeBoer's out there going, "I'm ahead of you, man." And
seriously, yeah.
And look, the reality is, you're right. It's early. It's 2 games in. After Jake Oettinger gets the 40 save shutout tonight, the whole narrative will shift to something else.
We will delete this recording, and
exactly.
It will
never heard it. But the way that things ended last year for Dallas does kind of play in here, and the ghost of Pete DeBoer yanking Jake Oettinger, and Oettinger trying to go back to the net, and an angry Pete DeBoer telling that kind of does play into it, and that's sort of why. The way that all played out last year was so potentially alarming if you're a Dallas fan, because look, man, goalies are, first of all, they're all huge weirdos to start with. There's not a single normal human being who's ever put those pads on. And it's such a psychologically tough position to play that, it's not, is there such a thing as a goalie who can't do it in the big games? Maybe not, but if a goalie believes it one way or another, then it becomes self-fulfilling.
You're halfway there.
I'm still, a lot of the concern with Jake Oettinger was, game one was just a mess. Game two, everything for Dallas was better. I would say Jake Oettinger was a bit better. But this still feels like a long series.
This is just sour grapes because I've picked him to win the Vezina in October for the last 3 years. Like I'm just sour over it.
You're an absolute fool. But hey, it's been this series so far has not lived up to the hype in the sense that this was the one that was supposed to be going to overtime every night and everything, and it kind of feels like a bit more of a feeling out, but it's tied 1-1, and this feels like what we're getting early is just the building blocks of what can still develop into a classic late in the series. And you're just sitting there going, I remember for the first few games, it was just two teams hitting the big moves on each other. And then, then they had to figure it out down the stretch. I still think we got a lot of hockey left to go on this. But you're right. You look at Dallas, fired a coach for losing in the conference final because that wasn't good enough. This is a tough one if they can't get it done against a very good Minnesota Wild team. Yeah. But also it's weird. I wrote about this morning. The whole playoff format thing in this series. Do you realize the Minnesota Wild are not even the best team record-wise to start on the road this year?
That was one of those thoughts that I was kicking around. I was like, are we sure? Like, should we be as mad about the playoff formatting as we are?
The Minnesota Wild
and then I saw you lay it bare in the post this morning. Like,
they finished, and what I'm referring to, they finished behind the Canadiens in the standings. And I haven't seen much, if any, Canadiens fans are, saying, oh, the terrible playoff format, we got to play the Lightning, we should be playing someone. There's been some of that in the East just because the 7 and 8 seeds are facing each other, which is pretty ridiculous. But, I look at it more from the Minnesota perspective that, hey, you don't get to play the playoff format card if you lose here because you finished 7th. You finished 7th overall. You're going to play a good team in the playoffs in the first round. And if you lose to that team, then you weren't really a cup contender to start with. Dallas, you could say third best record in the league. If anything, they're the ones who have got the complaint that, hey, we should be getting a cupcake in the first round here instead of a real good Wild team. But at the end of the day, like you gotta beat the good teams. You're not winning the Stanley Cup with playing 3 70-point teams and then somebody good in the final.
So it's not a cop out. You're gonna have to beat these teams eventually. Like I'm way less angry about the playoff format than the average person. I feel is it perfect? No. Is it unfair? Sure. Should it be changed? Yes. But I don't have it in me to get all that angry about it. Like if you're Minnesota and you want to win a cup, go beat someone good. Like tough luck.
It. Both these teams, Dallas. If you can't beat the Minnesota Wild, you weren't. What was the path to a cup for you?
You don't sorry.
You couldn't beat the Wild, but you were going to go through Colorado, and
it's tough logic.
This isn't 1984 anymore. There's not 21 teams and 16 of them make the playoffs, and one of them has 52 points, and. And if you're the Oilers or the Islanders or whoever the powerhouse is, you get a literal first round bye pretty much. Those days are gone. I want the format to change. I'm on board, but I guess the best way I could put it is you sit me down at a sports bar and get a couple of beers in me and then say, hey, what's bugging you? I'm going to hit you with a whole bunch of stuff.
Man, that's so true.
Format comes up. It's not that high on my list of things to change. And to bring it back, just, yes, we want it to be fair. This is a great matchup, man. far be it for me to agree with Gary Bettman or even seem like I might be agreeing with, but some of these first round matchups are pretty great.
I'm kind of close to agreeing with Bettman.
I mean, if the weird format serves up a couple of absolute A+ matchups that maybe shouldn't happen till the second round, but we get them early, I don't mind eating my dessert before the broccoli, right? Like
the ends justify the means.
There you go.
I'm fully prepared to watch a 3 overtime game in the press box in Edmonton tonight on my phone, because it feels like Minnesota and Dallas have one or two of those in them.
Fingers crossed, man. I hope so.
Let's go. Hit a break. We'll be back to what we learned. All right, we're back. Sean McIndoe. I would like to tell you what I've learned.
Absolutely.
What have we learned, Sean?
Oilers coach Kris Knoblach and Oilers goaltender Connor Ingram are both from the same town of 372 people in Saskatchewan. They're from Imperial, Saskatchewan. I know that's a very uniquely Canadian thing to have these prairie towns and that have 15 people and whatever. I can't run the odds on this because it's not possible. The fact that a coach and a goaltender end up with the same franchise from a town like that, from a town of that size, and literally, if you go to the Imperial Saskatchewan town website, they just have, it's like we have a water tower and 3 streets.
Do they have a group photo of the entire town together?
I'm not kidding. There's
it's a selfie with somebody.
There's a photo carousel on the municipal website for this town, and one of the photos is just of a house. It's just of a normal ranch house. It's like, okay, here's the post office. Here's the water tower. Here's an overhead shot of the 4 blocks of town. And then there's one it looks like any house you've ever seen, and there's no context at all. It's just here's one of our 68 houses. It's incredible, and the fact, and I know that there is some kind of personal connection between their families. Obviously, it's not possible to live in a town that small and where everybody doesn't know everybody. But the fact that you're talking about a playoff team that has a coach and a goalie are each from that particular place was just mind-boggling to me.
I've got some small town Canada on both sides of my family, and here's the thing that I can't stop thinking about with this is if the Oilers win the Stanley Cup, imagine being in a town of 300
going to Imperial, baby.
That gets 2 Stanley Cup visits. I mean, do you roll those together, do them back to back, do a 48-hour binge, or do you spread it out? Does I mean, how many photos?
It's literally, it's like we're taking the cup to the elementary school. We're taking it on top of the water tower. There's not much else to do.
What would you do with the cup if you had your day? Because I have a plan for when I win it.
I'm going back to the pool at Maryland Muse House. That's where it always ends up when the Penguins win it. I think it needs a return trip.
You're gonna reunite it. My thing has always been I would get a bunch of my buddies together from my whole life, and we're getting together. We're gonna play up ball hockey. We pick the teams, ball hockey, 1 game, winning team gets to pass the cup around. Losing team, you do not touch the cup. You're not taking any photos. You got nothing. You get to play 1 game for the Stanley Cup. I think it would be, the number of shredded ACLs off the opening faceoff would be impressive.
I wouldn't take it in public. I would just stick it in my living room and sit there by myself and play, PS5 or something. I would be a groundbreaker in that way.
Here's what I learned, and I learned 2 things about the new GM of the New Jersey Devils, Sonny Mehta, from who they hired away from the Florida Panthers. Yeah. First of all, I learned that he had the same taste in 90s clothing that I did. The starter jacket, the whole deal. Dude, when I finally get hired as GM of the Leafs, let's just say there's a lot.
You actually might too, by the way. I don't know if you have ChatGPT on your phone or not, but
haven't. I mean, I've got a couple of voicemails I haven't checked. I'm assuming that's my buddy Keith calling, but
did you ask Gemini if you have an interview coming up for the Maple Leafs job?
So I love that photo of Sonny in the Devils. That I mean, I'll just say that beats the bed sheets
pajamas.
photo.
Yeah.
Bed sheets. Pajamas, man.
I knew you were going to correct me on that as soon as I started saying pajamas. They're bed sheets.
Islander
I know.
fans.
We know.
Stop calling him Pajama Boy. It's bed sheets.
It's been 15 years.
But here's the other
John
thing.
Tavares is 43 years old. Leave him alone.
Here's the other thing that I learned about Sonny Mehta, which is I had known that he was a poker guy.
Yeah.
And I saw somebody asked him about it at I don't know if it was a press conference or somewhere else. They like, how does your poker strategy affect? And he gave like a really thoughtful, interesting answer. And that kind of got circulated on social media. And I'm a poker guy myself. What I didn't realize is he wrote the books on poker that I had back then.
Oh my God.
I used to read the Ed Miller, the 2+2 books and all that. Like I was all over that. And, because
I didn't know you were that much of a poker guy.
Back in the day, I like everyone else, right?
Got into Vegas together a couple years ago. Were you slipping out on me?
No, I can't play.
Not allowed.
I'm playing online on the, until they start opening up some $5 and $10 tables in Vegas. I don't think I'll be doing that. But, yeah, I've probably got those books somewhere.
That's incredible.
And I feel like there was I can't remember the exact circumstances, but I ended up like, there was something with Ed Miller where like we ended up conversing about something. I don't know if he a hockey guy or whatever. I didn't realize until just yesterday because I was looking it up, because the reason I went to look it up is I wanted to know, is Sonny the first guy to have gotten into poker during the lockout in 2004, 2005, the way we all did, to then become like a pro poker player and then get it. Like, has this come full circle? And no, he was already doing pretty well at the tables before then. But I just thought that was very cool. I own I've literally got the book on this.
And imagine how fun it would be if you owned poker books written by the guy who was the GM of the team you root for. Alas.
Would have been cool, but there's still time.
Your post went up today. This morning. It's the panic rankings, basically. I think
the pressure rankings.
Pressure. Rankings,
everybody wants to win in the playoffs. Who needs to win? I think it will shock people to find out who's ranked number one, and I'm sure their fans will be really cool about it because they really enjoy when outsiders express thoughts. Gentle criticism from people who aren't from Alberta. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what you're talking about. All right, Sean, have a good day. We'll talk to you next week. Frankie Corrado probably back. Who knows? He's again big time us for TV stuff for U18s. We'll see if he's back. Who knows? Haley and Max are back with the show on Friday. Rather, I will be on a plane to the greater Disneyland area. We'll talk to you down the road. Enjoy the games. Enjoy the puck. And thanks for listening.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and ring the bell to stay informed and catch new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And in the meantime, you can join our Discord community. We'll see you there.